When I first started learning how to use Blender, this idea of a material slot was kind of a difficult thing for me to wrap my brain around. So I came up with this visualization that really helped me, and I wanted to share it with you. Imagine our objects like a container. The objects in our scene can hold a whole bunch of different stuff. Some objects contain light information, others contain camera information. And when it comes to our geometry and our mesh objects, they contain vertex information, vertex data. And we can start to see that visualization of these containers over here in our outliner. So I have the container mesh object selected. And if I was to swirl it open here, you can see that it is currently holding a data chunk of vertices. That's what this icon means. And if you go into your properties panel, we'll see that icon appear once again down here at the bottom. And this is our vertex data properties. And these are all the different vertex properties that we get to control and influence inside of our scene. However, they're not the only thing that we can put inside of these mesh objects. We can also fill them with some slots and then populate those slots with some additional information. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So imagine this container is our geometry, and we want to put some more stuff into it. Well, we can put in a slot like this for our materials. So we've started to provide and create just a simple little area for additional information to go into. We first create the slot, and then we tell the computer what to put in that slot. Maybe we can put a material like this. We'll use this little sphere here, this little cylinder as a visualization of the actual material. On this material, we can change the characteristics and the lighting attributes to make this material look like metal or wood or skin. Within inside of this little data chunk, the red data chunk, we can change its values, but the slot and its container is still persistent. When it comes time to make a change, or perhaps we want to delete the red material or swap out the red for the other, the slot is still going to stay where it is, right? That slot's not going anywhere. But we just change the material that goes inside of it. The container and its slot are persistent. The material is a child of the slot. Let me show you what this looks like over here in our outline. I'm just going to work with this mesh object. I've just made these all out of little pieces of geometry here inside of Blender. So here's that blue cylinder that we're just looking at a second ago. And if we were to twirl open all of its properties, you can see that, of course, it's an object. That yellowy orange is an icon for object. And then inside it, we have vertex information. This is all the polygons that create the visualization of the cylinder itself. But now, because we've associated a material with it and we've created a slot, check it out. We now have a slot and a material inside of that slot. So materials are always going to be children of the vertexes and the objects themselves. At any time, we can swap out what's in the slot itself. Check it out. So I'm still on the blue mesh object. I'm on the cylinder data packet, and I'm working on this slot. I'm not even going to call it the blue material because this is really just a slot that currently has the blue material inside of it. Now, what if I wanted to change this cylinder to be blue to red? Well, I don't have to delete the slot. I can keep the slot there and just change the packet of information that's inside the slot. Check it out. And that's where this little library comes in. Notice that I'm not going to delete this slot. This entire row represents that slot. It represents one of these little quadrants, if you will, inside of my model. Instead of deleting the slot, I'm just going to change what's inside of it. And that's where this icon comes in, because this is going to give access to all the materials that are currently existing inside of our scene. I'm not deleting the blue material or the slot that's on this cylinder object. I'm changing the contents of it. And now that guy's red. Now I have two little red discs now. So just to kind of prove the point that I didn't like swap them out very quickly, I just changed what was in the material slot on this blue mesh object. Let's do it again. I'm not going to delete the red material or the slot that we currently have selected. I'm just going to change the contents of it, which is pretty cool. Working with these slots kind of speaks to the power of the Blender material system. It allows us to create areas in which data can live inside of, and then we can swap out this data at any time, which makes it a very incredibly powerful and editable system.